ladies and gentlemen, it's AttackonSamurott, bringing you all a week 2 of the SOS draft, at the SOS Little Cup Draft League. So I'm playing my opponent this week for week 2, playing against Murkit, coach of the Kentucky Mudsdales. So this matchup, I was thinking, I think it took me like a day or two to build it for this week. But yeah, I was really considering like what I want to do for this week because my opponent has a lot of really interesting stuff on his draft that I had some trouble actually trying to get around it because he's got like three, four. Well, honestly, he has a lot of threats. He's got a lot of like strong stuff on here. Again, Galler Pony, Stunky, Trico. Stunky was a surprising one for me actually. I didn't realize that Mon could be that dangerous, but yeah, this Mon is definitely something you don't want to mess around with. I will say that. But yeah, G Pony, Stunky, Trico, Arvesta. Yeah, those were Mons I was like more concerned about when building. Especially Trico. Trico was something that I was really considering because if that thing gets out of control, well, it's a wrap. It's GG's at that point. So I was really trying my best to prep around that more than what I was expecting, or more than anything, or more than that. Like, I mean, like, I was considering a couple things. Like, I knew like Stunky was gonna come because Stunky's just really good against my draft in general. Outside of like handling Diglett, yeah, it kind of just covers for a decent chunk of my team. So I prepped in a way that I could still handle it. I built it in a way that I could still handle it and also still be able to handle the rest of my opponent's draft as well. But yeah, I'm not going to make this too long of a vid, just going to do my breakdown of the team builder and then get the game underway as well. But yeah, before we get started, please make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, join my Discord, the Bushido Gang, and subscribe for some more content on the channel. On my way to reaching my sub goal of 500. We are currently at 496, man, 496. Only 4 more subs until I reach 500 subscribers. When I reach 500 subscribers, I will start streaming on Twitch. So just gonna, keep repeating that until we end up hitting that goal. So here's my team. Here's my team for this week that I use against Murkit. So, by the way, me and Mur, I actually know him from playing with him in the past a couple times. He's actually he was actually in one of the discords that I'm in for like another separate league that I was in. It was actually for the Academy Premier League. So he's a former member of that. Or I mean, just like me, he's a former member. Or I mean, he's a former teammate. So yeah, we're pretty much cool with each other and whatnot. Anyways, so this is what I brought for this week. I brought Yen, the Natu. I brought Marijuana, the Snivy. Rolo, the Venipede, for the first game appearance. I brought Not back. I brought Liddy Witty for its first appearance as well. And I brought Z for its first appearance. So, when I was building, right, again, like I said, I was considering a lot of things. Pharisee was something I was considering as well. I only have like one way to really handle it. Or I mean, I have like two. I mean, I have 3 ways of handling it. Again, I had it in Dino, Liddy, even Natu, and also in Mankey. So I have 4 ways of handling it. But even still, it could still give me some problems. So I was trying to figure out like another way around it without having to bring Mankey. Because I mean, Mankey would have been good for this week. As you can see, like I'm just gonna show his draft again one more time. Like it's decent against this draft, but the problem is that it opens up too much. Especially it opens up Trico a little bit. So I wasn't really convinced about bringing Mankey this week, which is why I just kind of fell back on it. It would have been good here though. It definitely would have been good for me, but it was just something I wasn't really feeling at that moment. So that's why I decided to fall back on it and just use something else, or use something else to cover for these. And honestly, when I was looking at Litwick after I looked at Mankey, and I was just like, man, Litwick actually looks really strong here. Like it could actually be a potential late game cleaner, especially if I could set up on something that, well, it's kind of hard to set up with this thing without having to, without support, which is why I needed to bring a Knot for this week. Or really, that's why I need to bring Trick Room for this week anyway, because I felt like Trick Room was just good in general. But again, I had to get around Pharisee, and Pharisee is very strong under Trick Room. So having a way to remove that first and then set up Trick Room was really was really my game plan for this week. So if I could do that, or so if I was able to do that, then I could definitely get a lot going with Litwick and with Spritzy. So yeah. Anyways, Yen is gonna be my lead. Gonna be running U-turn, Heat Wave, Psychic, and Air Slash. Natu was only here just to bounce back hazards because my opponent has a couple hazards. Well, actually, they only have one. No, they have like three hazard setters in Pharisee, Swinub, and in Alolan Geodude. So I had to. So I mean, bringing that felt pretty good since it did cover for them fairly well. So that's why I decided to commit to that and just bring Natu to cover for it, or cover for the hazard setters and whatnot. And offensively, Natu still covers for a decent chunk too, with Psychic covering for a decent chunk of the team anyway. Especially with Stab, Air Slash too, since they have no flying resist besides in Geodude. So it was still fairly okay for me to just bring it, and yeah. And again, Heat Wave was mainly there for covering for Pharisee. That was the only reason why I was running it on this set. And yeah, U-turn was there for pivoting, but I didn't really need to pivot too much in this game. It wasn't really that useful, I'd say. Then we got Marijuana. So Marijuana is going to be a defensive Leech Seed or sub Leech Seed set with Leaf Storm and Giga Drain. So this was actually another way for me to cover for Pharisee, because Pharisee technically can get 1v1 by this set. Technically it can be if my opponent wasn't running Gyro Ball. If they aren't running Gyro Ball, then Snivy could potentially 1v1 it. And it's kind of iffy though. It's very iffy, but it has potential to do it by just bulking up to +6 and just keep smashing with Leaf Storm. So that was kind of my idea behind it, to have this use Pharisee as setup fodder and then just kind of spam with Snivy. So that's what I was considering at one point while building. But then I also decided to make it like a little bit bulkier as well, just make it more defensively based to cover for the physical attackers. Because I mean, his draft is mostly physically based, so having something that can at least take a physical hit was something I was considering as well. So that's why I wanted to make Marijuana just defensive. And again, sub Leech Seed just works very well anyway. I was thinking about putting Glare on this too, but if I gave it Glare, then that would also help out that would also help him against my Trick Room, and I don't want that. So that's why I decided to make it like this instead. Then we got Rolo. Now Rolo was very important for my team. The reason why it was important is because it covered for, well, I really want to say it covers for Trico, but it doesn't, because Trico still can outspeed because of Unburden. So I was not convinced about that. Really, all I wanted to do with Venipede, with Rolo, was get Spikes down. I want Spikes down on everything, because I mean, he has no way of hazard removal besides Stunky and Mankey. So that's why Spikes were just very good for me in general for this week. So that's why I decided to just apply as much pressure with Spikes down and just really get what I can out of it. Pin Missile covers for Ponytail and also covers for the grasses too. So again, hitting Ferroseed, hitting Stunky, and hitting Trico were all like targets, and again Ponytail as well were all targets for Venipede. So it definitely helped out in my case. Attack is there to scout, also to help with the speed boost as well. And then we have Endeavor, which is there to get just get as much damage as I can on whatever comes in. And yeah, this thing was surprisingly bulky, and I didn't even notice. I didn't even notice how surprisingly bulky it was, just because of. I mean, I looked at the spread I had. It was a more Spadef based one, but I pretty much just picked the sample spread that Venipede had. I didn't really do a full on what's the right word to say? A full on scout, really. So I just picked whatever was there, and it kind of worked out. But yeah, pretty much using this as a way to get Spikes down was my way with Rolo. I wanted to get as much Spikes in as I can to really apply pressure with the Trick Room setters in the back to sweep up, and also to help out with Snivy as well, because Spikes down can still help out against Pharisee too. So yeah. Then we have Knot. So Knot was important too, because Knot pretty much gave me setup opportunity. So if I could lock my opponent in with something by encoring, then I get a free Trick Room up. That's pretty much all I was going with. Counter for hitting things back on the physical side, in case they hit me with a physical move. Miracle for the special attackers, and Destiny Bond is there to just let Why Not get a sack pretty much. So we just trade with it. Then we have Litwick or Litty Witty. So we got Litty Witty, Gonna be running Trick Room, Sub, Flamethrower, and Shadow Ball. I was considering Calm Mind at one point, actually, like right before. Actually, it was right before I was playing. It was right before I was gonna play Myrrh. I was considering Calm Mind. But I decided, you know what? I think Flamethrower, Shadow Ball is good enough anyway. Because I mean, again, looking at his draft, Flamethrower just in general is really good. Shadow Ball also covers for everything else as well. But Flamethrower is just really strong here. So that's why I decided to just, commit with that. My bad, I'm clicking the wrong thing. That's why I just decided to commit with that. And just make it Flamethrower instead. And just, have it be a cleaner. And yeah. Sub was there for scouting too. Then we have Spritzy. So Spritzy was the last one that I brought. And Spritzy really felt good to me. Because, it really felt good for me for this week. It's because Moonblast is just very aggressive against my opponent. Like, they don't really have a ton of fairy switch-ins besides Larvesta. And Larvesta doesn't really appreciate getting chipped by hazards or anything, or getting chipped in general. So Moonblast is very, very free against my opponent. So that's why I decided to commit with that and bring Spritzy for this week. And pretty much that's how it worked out, really. So yeah, that's gonna be the game, or it's gonna be the team. Let's dive into the game now. So again, like I said, when I was playing, I was expecting Trico more than anything. I think Trico would have been very good for him, but he did not bring it. He brought Ponytail. He brought G-Pony, which I expected. He brought Pharisee, which I was thinking about. He brought Mantike, which I was considering at one point, actually, because I was thinking about putting Thunderbolt on Spritzy to cover for it. But yeah, he did bring it. So there's that. He brought Geodude. He brought Swinub, and he brought Stunky. So Stunky was definitely very scary for me. Very scary. Again, I have ways of handling it still. But if it's what I'm thinking, again, at the time when I was playing him, because again, as I'm recording this, I just played him. I literally just played him like, what, 10, well, actually, how much time went by? Probably like 30 minutes ago at most. No, probably 20, actually, being more generous. I think I played him like 20 minutes ago. But yeah, like, when I saw Stunky, like, I knew it was going to be a problem, but again, like I said, I have ways of handling it. Again, I have Venipede that can still cover for it fairly well, and especially since it's more Spadef invested, we can still take it on, so there's that. And yeah, if it's not going to be running an Eviolite, then I don't really have to worry about that too much, since it won't be doing as much damage. But if it's going to be a more offensive set, then that's something that was very something that, I was pretty much like, expecting it to be. I was expecting it to be like a more offensive set, because I was looking at the sample sets for Stunky, and Stunky is just straight up offensive as hell. Like, it doesn't really run Eviolite like that. So it was definitely a scary mon for me, but I was able to get through it somehow. Especially after you see what he does turn 1. When he does turn 1, I was just floored. I was just like, oh hell no. But yeah, we about to dive in, and y'all about to see what happens. So here we go. Turn 1, Stunky versus Venipede. So yeah, like I said, my game plan was to get spikes down as early as possible. Once I get them down, then these guys can go crazy. So that's all I was considering at this point. And yeah, so he goes for Nestball at turn 1. I'm just like, bruh. bruh. like I was just like, oh shit. Now, like, when I saw that, I already put in the comments, but I was just like, I guess I lose. Like, again, the moment I saw that, I was just like, bruh. What do I do now? What do I do now? I didn't even calc to see how much this thing was doing. But if he had a fire move, then we were dead. We were straight up dead. Which usually Stunky does carry a fire move to cover for steel types. But again, this is like outside of Draft League. My opponents in Draft League prep for opposing drafts. They don't prep for like the whole metagame and whatnot. So that's the difference between Draft Leagues and playing on Showdown, on ladder and whatnot. But yeah, so Stunky's scary. It was very scary. If he's like a fast Stunky, then I don't really have much to like, really combat it with. Besides maybe Natu, and that's really all I have. Yeah, I didn't really feel comfortable going into Why Not, because I wasn't really trying to do that. So I just get my spikes down anyway. After I see that, I'm just like, bro, come on. Like, I get my spikes down, I get my +1 off, and I go for Pin Missile because I'm just gonna get damage on this. So I get my damage. I see how much Dark Pulse does, and I'm just like, oh, thank God. Like, I saw that damage, I was just like, okay, Alright. Alright, I can do things now. I felt pretty okay after seeing that. I was still scared. I was still scared as fuck. I was like, yo, that did a lot. But it wasn't a fire move, so thank God. And it wasn't life orb either, which is another blessing. If this thing was life orb, well, I would still be talking about the game, but I would be talking about it from a perspective of like, so we lost. So we lost to lead Stunky. But nah, anyways, I got my spikes down here. And I get another speed boost as well. And I was thinking about doing it again, so I do it again. And they go into Mantike, and Mantike takes a little bit of damage from that. So I didn't really notice it at the time until actually seeing it from this replay. But that actually did a decent chunk to that. So it definitely was an offensive Mantike. It wasn't like a bulky one. So that told me a lot. Or after seeing it now, I kind of understand. But yeah, I'm gonna switch out here because I'm gonna keep Rolo alive and still be able to spike later. So I'm gonna go Nazi here in case they default. But they go for agility. And I'm just like, bro, yo, like it's just setup on setup, man. It's just setup on setup. So I'm gonna switch and go why not because I want to make sure I get my I anchor this thing and lock it in. So they go for agility again. I lock it in. And now what I can do is get a free turn into Spritzy. So I bring in Z. Z's in right now. And this, and again, Mantike is locked into agility, so I can just Moonblast here. Moonblast has a really good chunk to it, but they're Berry Juice, so that is not too bueno for me. But I go for Moonblast again. Moonblast doing 47%, no drop. Encore ends. They go for Air Slash. It does 38% to me, no flinch either. Moonblast can bring it down to 5% with the drop. Doing 27%, my Berry Juice activates, and I go for Moonblast, not getting flinched, and I take out the Mantike. So Mantike goes down, Spritzy gets 1 kill, and now we have Stunky back. So Stunky's back once again, and is going to destroy my life. So I have to switch out here and not get hit with Sludge Bomb. So I go into Venipede, go Rolo right here. Rolo takes it fairly, or takes that Sludge Bomb very well. He brings in Ferroseed on the following turn as I go for Pin Missile again. So I get another Pin Missile off, and this time right here, I decided to just get my spikes down at this point, because I mean, if Mur does predict not to, he can just knock off anyway. And also, if he knocks this off, that's still fine anyway, because I mean, I don't really need Venipede anymore at this point. I just need my spikes down, so that's all I'm going for at this moment. So I get my second layer down, he goes for knockoff, and now at this point, I'm just like, okay, I'm going to sack this thing. Just endeavor right here to get as much damage as I can on this thing. If they do go for hazards, it's fine. I can't really do much about that. I really can't do too much about that, so I decided to let it go. So I endeavor here, you bring it down all the way to 5%, and I sack it here. So I don't need Rolo anymore. Rolo did his job. Like all Rolo really needed to do was get spikes down. So it did what it needed to do. I could bring in Litty Witty. I could Flamethrower here and knock out Ferroseed. So Ferroseed goes down, and now it's going to be Geodude coming in here, and I'm just like, yo, I'm not feeling that, brother. So I have to switch out and go into my wall. So I bring in Marijuana, who could take on everything fairly well. Actually, technically it could have. Technically, it really could have just swept here. But I don't know how much Geodude's doing. And that's really what it came down to. I didn't know how much it was doing, so I just hit what was in front of me. If I had calc before, maybe I could have seen how much it was actually going to do. Also, I could see what kind of moveset it has, because I don't really... I mean, Geodude has this, it has the same move pool as Geodude, except, it has stab on electric coverage, so like Thunder Punch and whatnot. It could have Ice Punch too. Those were things I was thinking about, so I just decided to hit what was in front of me, just be aggressive with it. And yeah, again, he brought a lot of setup. Like, it was just straight up setup here, and I was just like, yo, what? like I was just completely caught off guard by this, but yeah, so he goes for Rock Blast. He does 13%, 14 after that. Go for Leaf Storm. I knock out the Geodude. So Marijuana gets 1 kill, which is sick. Stunky comes in here, and I'm definitely going to switch back and go into Why Not on the potential Sludge Bomb. So I go Not here. Sludge Bomb coming down, doing 32% to me. And now what I can do... Okay, so this play really matters. This play actually matters a lot. Now, here's what I was thinking. I was thinking that Mur could either... He could do two things. He could just hit me, or he could set up on my Miracle. He could do one of those two things. And honestly, I was just concerned about getting my Encore off. So I wanted to Encore this thing, lock it in. That way I can get a free setup with any of my other mons, and just go from that point. So what Mur does is he just straight up hits me. Goes for Dark Pulse. does 64% and a flinch. I did not see the flinch when I played him. I did not see it. I did not see it on that turn. I was just like, okay, thank God I got the Encore off. But little did I know, I didn't even see the flinch there. If I saw the flinch, I would have paid a lot more attention at that point. But yeah, why not taking that? Getting flinched there sucked a lot, because I would have had a free turn to sit up right there. But now I have to go Spritzy here on the next Dark Pulse, which does 15%, which isn't too bad. But again, I'm thinking it's still locked in, but then he switched up the move, and I was just like, wait, what? He's not locked in? Wait. and then I got very lucky. I was just like, holy shit. Yeah, I lived that. I was able to live it. I was able to live Sludge Bomb. I think it's a roll. It might have been a roll, actually. So either we got low rolled or something. I feel like we got low rolled there, but I could probably calculate. I'll calculate right now. But yeah, when I saw that, I was just like, bro, what? Like, what? How the fuck we lived that? Yeah, that's the life force I'm talking about when it comes to Stunky. When it comes to Stunky, I was thinking about something like this, down here, but that was not the case. Anyway, Spritzy, versus that. So now again, that doesn't matter. This one, that's a special set. Or actually, no, I guess I could still put the special set in. So let's say it's max special attack, so 252 or whatever, 236, whatever the case is, 236. Let's put Sludge Bomb on that. Now, if this was Life Orb, we died. We straight up died if it was Life Orb. Yeah, well, the roll is actually in our favor, though. Well, actually, it's not really that much in our favor. But still, it does a fuck ton. Now, Mur did tell me off screen he wasn't Life Orb. As you guys can tell already from the damage, or from him not taking recoil damage, it's not Life Orb. But yeah. So, Sludge Bomb actually does 69 to 92%. So, it's actually a mid-roll. Or a mid-low roll or something like that. Yeah, we just barely lived that. No, actually, it was a mid-roll. We got mid-rolled. Or he got mid-rolled. Yeah, so we barely lived that. I got the Moonblast off. We crit him. I don't think the crit mattered there. It really didn't. Swinub comes in here, and I let Swinub take me out. So I let Swinub go down. And then I bring in Litwick. Now, I don't know if Swinub really needs to run Eviolite. I don't think he needs it. But in case it was, and it was Thick Fat, I could actually calculate to see if that really mattered. How much that mattered there with Litwick versus Swinub. I feel like that mattered, but again, I don't know. But we're gonna find out anyway together. We're gonna find out together. Now, Fire Blast is not the case on this set. I have Flamethrower on this set. We have Flamethrower. Again, I'm gonna assume that this is Thick Fat, so we're gonna put Thick Fat on it. So Thick Fat off a timid, or not timid, off of like a modest or a positive natured Flamethrower. With investment, by the way. This is actually invested. So if it wasn't invested, then obviously you would see the damage. But yeah, so with the spikes down, it was still guaranteed to die. Or his chances of dying were pretty high anyway. But yeah, so with the spikes down, it was basically guaranteed at that point. And even if this did go down, well, even if it did go down, then I'd have a hard time against Ponyta too. Ponyta would just spam Psychic pretty much, or Dazzle him at that point. Or even just Calm Mind up, and it would still be kind of a problem at that point. So technically, so yeah, I mean the Flamethrower did matter there, but I don't know if the crit mattered. Is what I'm trying to say. I don't know if the crit mattered there, but if it did, and he was like a bulkier set, then I apologize to Mur for that. But yeah, we ended up getting the kill there, and I get the Shadow Ball off. We knock out Ponyta. That's gonna be the game. So yeah, this was a very scary game. Like this shit was scary as hell. Luckily, Liddy came in clutch though. It got 3 kills, which was pretty cool. Actually, 2 kills. Got 2 kills before going down, or before yeah, I got 2 kills here. But yeah, that was it did get 3 again. Kill off Ferroseed and the other 2. But yeah, this game was very, very scary. It could have went in a much different direction. Again, if I noticed the sub before, or if I noticed the flinch before, maybe this would have. I mean, it definitely would have went in a different direction. But yeah, But yeah, I didn't notice it then. But but man, that definitely was tough though. That was very tough. I mean, seeing as how much Sledge Bomb did at full, against Spritzy, we were living that. But again, I wouldn't have known that at the time. But we would have lived the Sledge Bomb, and we still would have gotten something out of it. So we still would have been in a fairly decent spot at that point anyway. Even if the flinch did come down, even if I did notice the flinch, and just let Why Not die there. But yeah, so Murky played very well. Very aggressive. Not something not something I expected at all. I did not expect any of this, but that definitely caught me off guard. But he played very well with his ways to get around my team. So that's gonna be that for this game. I don't know how long I've been talking. I've probably been talking for like 30 minutes. 25. Okay, that's better. All right, so that's gonna be that. If you guys enjoyed my reactions and my thoughts to this game, please make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter. Join my Discord, the Bushido Gang, and subscribe for some more content on the channel. On my way to reaching 500 subscribers. We're currently at 496. So just 4 more subs to go until we hit that sub goal, man. Just 4 more to go until we hit that sub goal. So that's going to be that. Be safe, wash your hands, and peace out.